The Guardians are going streaking. The good kind. The good kind. The kind you can talk about. They broke a streak. They kept a good streak going. We're going to dive into that today. It's Locked On Guardians.
You are Locked On Guardians, your daily podcast on the Cleveland Guardians. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another winning edition of Locked On Guardians. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest, most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use the code, all lowercase LockedOnMLB, for first deposit match up to $100. This team just keeps on winning. There will be no streaking on the podcast. We have to keep this family friendly, and we don't want to get demonetized. So we
enjoy doing this, so let's keep it that way.
Yeah, let's not get fired. But Cleveland, we were kind of worried with Tanner Houck, as good as he had been in the past against Cleveland, and I guess the Red Sox should have been worried with as good as Ben Lively's been.
Who would have thought Ben Lively? Who would have thought? Just enjoy this, man. Five in a row for the Guardians, and who would have thought Ben Lively was the guy to stop the streak? So we've been talking for a few weeks now. I've been putting it on Twitter every single day just because it's notable that the Guardians have not gotten 6 innings from their starter since Logan Allen did it back on April 3rd. That was 15 consecutive games. Somehow in that time, the Guardians were 10-5. So not as if it was really hurting them, but how much longer could that last? Well, and who was going to break the streak? And without, no Shane Bieber around, thought it was going to be Tanner Bybee on Sunday, and he came oh so close and probably deserved it, but a couple things didn't bounce his way. But Ben Lively, not only does he go 6 innings, he gets into the 7th inning, gets an out, and, he made one bad pitch all night, and it was just a solo home run. Not only that, but pitching in the rain, not very hard, not very easy to do. In that environment, and this is not a guy who throws hard. He doesn't have big stuff, so feel for a pitch and command are so important for him. And you also are seeing a team for the second time in 10 days. He started against them 5 days ago, and he pitched well then too. But you had to think that the Red Sox were going to adjust, and apparently they didn't. The Guardians adjusted to Tanner Houck at the end anyway. We'll talk about that later, but I don't know how you can be any more happy for Ben Lively and all the options he's earning with this. Someone said we need to retire that joke. I don't think we ever will, but
nope, it's not gonna get retired.
I don't know how you can't enjoy this ride and be thankful for Ben Lively right now, of all things.
Who needs Shane Bieber? We got Ben Lively. Right as we lost one, we get the next guy. They're the same guy, right? A year ago, maybe that was the case. But, right now we were talking beforehand. It's like, this is probably the best case of enjoy it. There isn't really a reason for Lively to be this good outside of the fact that the Red Sox offense probably is not very good and that he is facing a team that he is successful against. But for now, it's perfect. They needed innings. They needed what he could provide, and he's been excellent. And he continued to be excellent for this team. And it was, of course, high humor because they won, but that Ben Lively is finally the one to break that 6 inning. If you could have bet on that with our friends at PrizePicks or FanDuel, we would have not told you to bet Ben Lively to break that stretch. Let's be honest.
No, not at all. No, but that's just the way this season so far is going for the Guardians. It's, expect the unexpected. You're getting contributions up and down the lineup when things are good, and things are really good right now. You're getting the bullpen is remarkably consistent. We'll talk a little about Hunter Gaddis, but as we always do at this point, we're talking about Hunter Gaddis, I think 3 or 4 times a week. But the bullpen finally got a little bit of rest, and then they went out and shut the door when the Guardians got the lead late. Just everything's clicking right now. And again,
might have been Barlow's best appearance all year too.
He was super efficient as well, which is important for him. We're not going to sit here and be Debbie Downers. But just enjoy this right now. As we've been saying, we said with Andre yesterday, and we've said this multiple times the last couple of games or week or so, that they're not just scraping by. They got 2 runs they got the Tyler Freeman RBI single, and they got the Jose Ramirez home run to go up 2-1, but they kept adding on after that. You know, they didn't just win 2-1. They're not scraping by. This is a 3-1 victory. They got 4 runs again. This is a team that's not scraping by right now. They are genuinely playing like they are a good baseball team. They deserve to win these games. And again, everybody's talking about, oh, you know, they played Oakland. Great. They played Oakland. Oakland, we talked about it yesterday. Oakland is like a 500 team when they're not playing the Guardians. And the Red Sox, are they good? They're not really great. No, but you want to know what? The Guardians came in there and took 3 or 4 in Boston, which is very hard to do. And the Red Sox turned around and they swept. Didn't they sweep the Pirates?
Pittsburgh. Yeah, swept Pittsburgh.
Yeah. And the Pirates are the Pirates great? They're not great, but they're not bad. They're good. They were off to a great start. So I don't want to hear any of this, you know, oh, well, they're facing bad teams right now. The teams they're playing, they're beating, are beating other people, okay? The Oakland's beating other people. The Red Sox are beating other people. And
Oakland beat New York 2-0 last night.
Resilient. Right, exactly. So the Guardians those teams are beating other people, and the Guardians are beating them. So I don't want to hear this easy schedule crap. Like, yeah, are the Braves next week going to be a good test? Absolutely, it's going to be a good test, but that doesn't take away from the fact what the Guardians are doing right now is playing good baseball, and they're doing things that, you know, should be sustainable. They're not going to win at a 74% pace like they are right now. I think right now they're on pace for 119 wins. We're realistic. We know that's not going to happen. But they are doing good things right now. And, you know, it's been 15 days since they got a start of 6 innings or more. And Ben Lively broke it. And the rest of the pitchers should get better. And the offense, I think, is getting better, too. We're going to talk about that later, too.
Yeah, there's definitely some things I want to talk about, like, Stephen Kwan. I thought in some respects I appreciate that he had no hits today because he needs that balance, the walks. Like, to me, that is huge. But again, we can save that.
Yeah,
that's for everydayer Justin, who's been putting down the notes of when we finally mentioned Stephen Kwan. So there we go, minute 7. Did it for you.
We'll get to Stephen Kwan. No, they were patient tonight. We'll get to the offense. For sure. The pitching staff as a whole tonight. I mean, Ben Lively was super efficient just looking at his pitch mix. I mean, he might be a Josh Tomlin type. Like, he doesn't throw harder than he threw a pitch 93 miles an hour tonight. And they said that it was 92.3 actually, or 92.8. I'm sorry. So close enough to 93, but his pitch mix from this year to last year is not any different through 2 games. He is doing the same stuff he did last year. He commands the baseball. When you don't walk guys, when you give up solo home runs like he did to Weiler Abreu, it doesn't hurt as bad because you're not walking guys. And
Abreu does like facing this team.
Weiler Abreu and the Guardians. If there's one guy in that team that's enjoying facing the Guardians, it's definitely Weiler Abreu, whether it's offensively or defensively, for sure. But yeah, he just commands the baseball, and all you can do is ask this guy to go out there, throw strikes, and get as deep as he can in the game. And when you turn it over to Scott Barlow, like you said, this is Barlow's best appearance of the year. We'll talk about Hunter Gaddis a little bit because he had maybe, I don't want to say a shaky outing. It wasn't shaky, but
there were like his worst outing of the year.
Well, when you throw 14 pitches and don't give up a run, that says a lot.
That says how good he's been.
That was your worst outing.
Is Lively at 800,000 or $1 million on the year that he's earning?
I think it's like 700,000 actually.
I was gonna say either way, it's under $1 million. I think in these 2 starts alone, he has earned that money. Like, being that much above the league minimum, he's. That's one of those things. I mean, my question: do you think I'm wrong that these 2 starts are as good as they've been, and the timing of this team needing those right now, the timing of those starts and as good as they have been, to me, he's already earned his money. Like, everything else is kind of gravy. I hope he continues it. I think the craziest thing to me, it's like, I was okay with letting him go out there in this 7th. I knew it was going to blow up, but it's like he was at 81 pitches. I was also like, he was so efficient all game.
And you wanted to, I know they had a day off on Monday, but now you can, Hunter Gaddis went, but Kate Smith didn't go, and Tim Herron warmed up, and Nick Sandlin didn't go, who they've been going to a lot so far. So you got a couple of guys rest because you're able to get out there a little bit deeper. Actually, if you look at the bullpen distribution, yes, they've been used a lot, but everyone's been used similarly. Like, Scott Barlow's got 11 appearances now, I think, or 12. I think after this one, my computer decided to bug up on me when I wanted to talk about this, but I think that's 12 appearances for Barlow. That's 12 appearances for Gaddis, 12 for Sandlin, 12 for Clase, 11 for Heron. Like, it's even distribution. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys with 11 or more. Is that a lot? It's kind of a lot considering you've played 23 games. That's a little alarming, which is why the pitching needs to get better from the starters. But you're not just blowing out one guy, right? You're not just going to Brian Shaw 17 times out of 23 starts, right? Or games, right? Like, there has been an even distribution. And oh, by the way, Sam Henches is coming back soon. He pitched tonight too. So you're going to get reinforcements. And, if they need to, you still have, if they'll ever put him on the roster, you have Nick Enright, and you still have Andrew Walters at some point this year. And Tyler Beatty's got 9, and I know his last couple of outings haven't been pretty, but he's still okay. Don't worry about who's going to go down for these guys. Like, that'll all take care of itself at some point. Like, they always do. But yeah, starting pitching is not even as good as we think it's going to be, and hopefully they don't burn the relievers out. But at least it's an even distribution. It is, but at least it's an even distribution. You don't have 1 or 2 guys that are just going 16 or 17 out of the 23 days. Like it would have been with Brian Shaw, right?
Yeah, or Clase. I mean, Clase
12 out of 23.
He's got, some of the lower appearance totals or inning totals, I feel like. And we know that this is a guy who's led the league in appearances 3 straight years. So
for sure. All right. We're going to get into the offense when we come back, but the number to know for next segment is 50%. I'll tell you why that is relevant. We come back before we get into the offense and why we both, at least I think the offense is really, it's the Red Sox. So you never know. But, we said before, we shouldn't just say, oh, it's the Red Sox or oh, it's Oakland. So I shouldn't get caught in a trap of doing that. But we'll talk about why I think the offense is on its way to getting better, which is amazing. So stick around for that.
Let's talk about Monopoly Go, one of the biggest apps. All right, now let me go off script. I'm going to just open the Google Play Store on my phone. I've already downloaded. Let's see where Monopoly Go ranks amongst free apps right now. This is going to maybe potentially, I can tell you when I open this up, it is right there in the front of sponsored things. If I go games, I go top charts, and this is the sign. Monopoly Go. There we go. Ready? Let me get it on camera. 4th in casual free games. 4th most popular game. Roblox, which I hear from my students, love that game. That's 2, just to give a comparison. That's how much people enjoy the fun of attacking their friends' banks, working with friends, working against friends. Games don't get to top 5 on the charts. Top 5 games often make hundreds of millions of dollars. Let's be honest. You don't get there unless you're good. So Monopoly Go is a quality product that is attracting tons and tons of players. Check it out for yourself. It's been downloaded over 150 million times. It's a great twist on Monopoly. Check it out for yourself. Download Monopoly Go now free on the App Store or Google Play. And our other fantastic sponsor, PrizePicks. I've talked about it before. When you do daily fantasy, it is you normally versus someone who knows more about the sport than you. Someone who has everything set up and you are going to lose. Not with PrizePicks, it's not you versus me. Not that, you probably know more than me, but, like that Jeopardy champ. That was a guy who made a lot of money through daily fantasy because he was competing against people who didn't have his knowledge base, didn't have that advanced data. PrizePicks is just you versus the numbers. It's as simple as that. More or less, it's that easy. That is their call sign for a reason. Check it out for yourself. You pick your categories, things like strikeouts, RBIs, home runs, and you're just picking more or less. It is that simple and that easy. So download the app today. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB, all lowercase, all one word, for a first deposit match up to $100. That is code LOCKEDONMLB. You can download the app or just go to your web browser for a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy with PrizePicks.
Guardians back to work on Wednesday night. Should be a little bit drier, but it's going to be cold. I will be at the game. But you can also listen to the game, whatever you're doing on Wednesday, by listening on your SiriusXM app. Just search Guardians. All right, Jeff, 50%. Why do you think 50% matters? What is the significance of 50% today?
The amount of balls and strikes. That would never be the case. That'd be a terrible game. I don't know. I'm never good at these.
Somehow throwing averaging 90 miles an hour in his fastball. Ben Lively got 6 swings and misses out of 12 total. That is 50% whiff rate on a 4-seam fastball that only goes up to 92, 93. That is pretty impressive. That means you are locating it well, and I think a lot of it had to do with throwing fastballs in non-fastball counts, a lot of 2-strike fastballs, locating it, obviously. And I'd have to look at the data on his extension. I don't think he gets – does he get – he doesn't qualify for extension yet. He doesn't have enough at-bats, but I'm wondering if extension helps. I don't know. They were saying in the broadcast that it looks like he has something deceptive with his fastball.
They said that on the radio as well.
The velocity. Yeah, I'd have to go back and see because he hasn't qualified.
His extension last year was 93rd percentile.
Yeah, so he does have an extension, so that does help his fastball play up a little bit. So that's good. So we'll see if they can keep pushing the right buttons with Ben Lively.
Between 6.6 and 7 is like over the course of his career where it's been, and that's always that's why he plays up. He has a really good extension,
and that's good for a guy who has to also locate too. Also, let's give kudos to Bo Naylor. We're gonna talk about David Fry a little bit later, but let's give some kudos to Bo Naylor for that game calling because sequencing with Ben Lively is super important for a guy who doesn't throw that hard and doesn't have big stuff, and you got a team that has seen you for the second time now in 10 days. Sequencing is important. So Bo Naylor, congrats on calling a good game. That's something he's had to work on, and he did it.
How many times do you see a guy with his stuff facing another team like this just get absolutely lit up?
Yeah, easily. I mean, it was raining out, so maybe that had something to do with it.
It does help. It definitely helps the pitcher in those situations.
Yeah. But let's stop making, the Guardians also had to play in the rain too, and they hit the ball. They scored off the Red Sox. They did a better job against Tanner Houck. I think they've already they've scored 4 runs in. This goes back to Dave Wendell Everydayer, who brought this up, and now we're keeping track almost every day. But
how many days until he finally mentions Hunter Gaddis in a comment?
He has not going to keep teasing him. I think you should start the tracker of that, to be honest, because I don't think he's talked about him. And
no, he's got very quiet. I want to be fair. Like his comments on Hunter Gaddis, honestly, were the same ones I made about Sam Hentges. We all make this mistake sometimes when it comes to
100%
starter to relief transition. It's hard to guess. Now, the other side is you and I learned our lesson with Hentges, and you and I are both like, there's a chance Gaddis could be a good reliever. And it worked.
Yep.
No, it doesn't always work out. But in fairness, you're not alone, Dave. Don't feel embarrassed. I blew it on Hentges.
Yeah, I did too. I was ready to move on from Sam Hentges, and now I think he is one of the most indispensable members of the bullpen. But so they're at 17 of 23 games this year with 4 more runs. That's fantastic. And they have now scored 4 runs in 5 straight games. I think the offense is actually getting better because Jose Ramirez tonight, hit a home run, which is great. Always good to have Jose home run. Opposite field home run, and he had 2 outs today that he ran into that were hit over 100 miles an hour. He hit the line out to Bobby Dahlbeck at first base that had a 680 expected batting average, just crushed the ball. No luck there. And then he had a ground out. Again, launch angle matters, but that was over 103 off of Houck. And it was a really good at bat, and I heard Andre saying on the broadcast that it was the first inning and Chris Valleca said that was a good at bat. Like, we have to be more patient against Houck because they weren't very patient last time out against him. And even though he grounded out, he had a great at bat, and that ended up helping him later in the game because they had to do that. So I don't know. It looks like Jose's kind of turning a corner too. So I feel really good about that. So I think the offense is getting better, not only for that, but Will Brennan tonight. We got to talk about Will Brennan.
Before we do, I just want to throw one quick note though. The fun fact of the opposite field that we got from Sarah Langs was that he had not hit an opposite field home run. He's hit it 3 times in his career. The other 2 times both came in 2017. So that's just for those who don't know how rare that is.
So 2017 was a good year for Jose. So that's good if that's happening. Will Brennan, a double 103 off the bat, a single 103 off the bat, and then he had a fly out to left field that was 97 off the bat that had expected batting average of 320, which is okay, but that was 97 off the bat. He had 346 feet. Will Brennan's at bats the last week or so since that Boston series in Boston has been fantastic. He is now at a 717 OPS. And he's hitting 246, 313. That's not anything super impressive, but He's over 100 WRC plus now, so he's above league average hitter. His BABIP, Jeff, only 255. I think there's more coming for Will Brennan. I think he is really ready to step up here, and his at bats have really said so. I think I want to look at StatCast. His expected batting average is 273.
Yeah, his one concern is he's not hitting the ball in the sweet spot, and he is still chasing a lot. His chase percentage is super high, and that's as long as that stays high.
He might always be a hacker.
Well, we didn't think he was coming up. Like he's kind of unfortunately settled into that. I'm hoping that'll get better. But I agree, he is playing much better of late. It looked really kind of ugly in the early going, but he looked like even his expected slug is getting up to where it's almost into, the red. His barrel percentage is almost like there are signs that like if he can just chase if he can get a little bit better with that eye, not only is he going to be league average, but he's going to be good. Like he is hitting the ball hard and hitting in the right, potentially with his defense. That's like he had, I believe, I could be wrong, like almost goal, top 5 DRS run save last year in right field. He was excellent. So that's
above average, 80th percentile.
Yeah. So like you're talking about a potential, 5-win, 6-win player. I mean, that's a lot of that is defense, but that's this team has not made many outfielders with that. Like if he can just get a little bit more,
he can be Lonnie Chisenhall. He can just be Lonnie Chisenhall.
I mean, there's a chance at plus Lonnie Chisenhall
because he wasn't as good a defender as Brennan is, right?
Yeah,
just not a great arm though.
Yeah, but it's just I think there's a potential for some great things to happen. Just got to a few more tweaks.
Yeah, he is getting close. I feel really good about Will Brennan. I think the offense is going to continue to get better. We haven't had a chance to talk about David Fry. There's one more
Stephen
hitter,
Kwan, just so we don't get in trouble again.
We will. So there's 3 more hitters we got to talk about. One of them is in the minor leagues. We got to talk. Yes. We got a little bit of college stuff we want to get to as well. So we've still got a ton of stuff to get to on another winning episode of Locked On Guardians.
Winning.
You want to do some winning on Mother's Day. You want to get your mom a great Mother's Day present. I always do. My mom has been so influential in my life. Could not get to anything I've done without her. So I always want to make her feel special on Mother's Day. You can get 50% off your next order from DoorDash, up to $15 when you spend $15 on your next flour, convenience, grocery, retail. Order now on DoorDash. Get something good for Mother's Day. Get something thoughtful. Surprise her with whatever fresh flowers. If she's into tack, get her a great gift card. Something, an edible arrangement or something. They have all that good stuff. Self-care, something to take care of mom on Mother's Day. It's coming. I'm never too late to show your mom on Mother's Day with DoorDash. Surprise her with whatever she is going to like, and use DoorDash to get it, because you're going to 50% off that next order. Like we talked about, $15 off when you spend 15 or more on your next purchase of flowers, groceries, convenience, retail. With our code LOCKEDONMLB. That's LOCKEDONMLB. Order using DoorDash today. Terms apply. And you can also listen to hopefully more winning baseball on Wednesday when you listen to the Guardians on your Sirius XM app as they take on the Red Sox once again. Let's first talk about David Fry. Jeff, David Fry didn't have a hit in this game, just like Stephen Kwan, but still made an impact. Those 2 guys had 2 walks apiece. The Guardians, as a team, had 6 walks, which is something they don't do a whole lot of. One was intentional, David Fry, because Cam Boozer was on the mound, a lefty. That is 2 straight games for David Fry with an intentional walk, which is hilarious, by the way, that teams are now, left-handers are just now walking him instead of pitching them, because they know that the good guy David Fry is not so good to lefties, not so nice. But that pick off at first base, that throw to first base was huge, because, you mentioned Hunter Gaddis having a, kind of a dicey inning, the single, the hit by pitch, but really bailed David Hunter. I keep saying David Fry. David Fry really bailed Hunter Gaddis out that inning.
Yes. And he would have bailed out David Hunter as well. I wonder if
that's,
I don't know who David Hunter is.
It's not a reference. Like a video game
completely made it up. But there's that part of you watching that. I'm like, the whole knock on David Fry is, he's not really much of a catch. It's like, I don't know. Part of it is like, he's the number 2 defensive catcher on this team. Like he's been such a consistent player that remember, this is a guy that they could have lost in the Rule 5. He was not added on before 2 years ago. It's like in this team has needed that lefty bat, needed a third catcher. It's crazy the amount of the guy hit at every level. He was just a underrated prospect, I believe a day 3 draft pick. And now what he's doing is just he's such an important part of this team.
He really is. He hits lefties. Lefties respect him. Like I said, the intentional walks are there. He's gotten some starts against righties. He's been good as well. I mean, he really against righties this year. A 450 slug. It's a 754 OPS against righties. So not as good as lefties, which is over 1,000. So of course lefties are going to walk him, but he's respectable against righties. He can, get in there and do something if you need him to, which he has at times. So yeah, he's been fantastic. Pop time right now, 1.9. So that's pretty good. 66 percentile in framing, not really so good in blocking and are right now, which, that's an issue for Bo Naylor as well. Only Austin Hedges is the blocks king on this team. But yeah, when you got a guy like Fry who can throw the ball like he does from the catcher position, hit lefties, but also play first, also play other infield spots, can play the corner outfield if you need him for a couple of innings. Like, it's just unbelievable how valuable he's been to this team. And it makes having Austin Hedges work. Like, if you don't have David Fry, it'd be a lot harder to roster Austin Hedges, but David Fry makes Austin Hedges be here to do what he's good at, as Andre talked about yesterday. If you haven't listened to that, definitely go back. It's too early. I'm not going to take an L on this yet, Jeff. I think you probably feel the same way, but Estevan Florial, a key double. He also worked a walk in this game off of Tanner Houck, it was off of Tanner Houck. And the double off of Cam Boozer, who I know is a great story coming back. Maybe not necessarily the toughest lefty in the league, though. But great contributions in this game. I got to see more Estevan Florial. I think it's long past time. I think other people are saying this. I think we have to start saying it. It's time to see more Estevan Florial in right field or center field or DH.
But how do you do? I guess that's the thing. It's like, I appreciate that. And I agree. But like, go look Tyler Freeman's page on Savant. You want to talk about someone who's all red. He is all red. And and also kudos to Freeman, because my big knock on him is like that guy's launch angle has always been really poor. It's at 13.5 this year. Like, his launch angle to go with everything else. Now, I mean, it's kind of funny. His Baseball Savant
page also worked a walk, by the way.
He did. Yeah. And he's playing better. He made a quick recovery on that one play that could have gone poorly. But he's learning.
JT McGuire.
He's learning that position on the fly. He's doing well with it. And the Savant page is like, I mean, that's somewhat similar of a Savant page to blanket on the Cubs player everyone wanted to trade for it. Like
Chris Morel.
Yeah, like that is not dissimilar rate data. Again, smallest sample size, but like you got to let Freeman cook. I mean, I had my concerns when he really fell apart for a bit, but then he came back. We just talked about how Brennan's close to being something special. We spent all last week about how we need more time for Gabby Arias, who's still outperforming Flo. It's like, I know we got to talk Manzardo, but it's like, where did these guys go? I mean, the only thing it's like, I appreciated why they kept Laureano, but like, he is the one who we don't really need to be seeing as much of. And I know a lot of people were out there screaming, oh, well, they're going to be stuck with him all year. I want to point out back in 2009, on June 1st, they cut David DeLucci. David DeLucci made $4 million that year.
Oh, man.
And it was a rightful cut, but like that was it 2009? Is that right? I might be wrong. Maybe it's 19 or whatever it was, but it was a while ago and it was $4 million and they said goodbye. Laureano is under 6. So it's like, you look at the inflation over time, it's not that much of a difference. Manzardo, though, is now, we'll point out he's playing in a high school ballpark in Columbus. I don't know why they designed that park as poorly as they did. It is a bad ballpark for development, evaluation, everything. But I mean, I was looking at the data. Not only is this guy hitting home runs all the time, when I was going through, I believe he is seeing he's seeing a lot of pitches per at bat in the minors, and he has the 3rd lowest swinging strike percentage of any hitter in the Guardians minor leagues. So he's hitting for power and he's not missing.
No, he's not. And to be fair, he is playing a small ballpark in Columbus. He has 5 homers in 3 games, and 4 of them did come in Columbus. No doubt. He had a home run on Tuesday as well. The home runs he's hitting in Columbus are not like just getting out. They're not wall scrapers. So it's not like he is taking advantage. He is hitting the ball hard and he is hitting it far. The home run he had on Tuesday was 353, which it was opposite field. It would not have cleared the fence in Cleveland for what it's worth, but it would have been off the ball at least. So he is doing great things down in AAA. And yeah, he's hitting the ball in the air, which is great. He's pulling the ball. It's what you want him to do. But, you know, not to steal your thunder, but like you said, the hallmark of this team, why they're doing so good, is the versatility. You were talking about getting Florial more at bats because he's producing, and more at bats for Gabby Arias, and keeping Freeman in and keeping Brennan in. And you put Manzardo in, and, you know, the only time you're going to sit Manzardo is against lefties, which is where Laureano should come in. They've overplayed him at this point. Maybe they're backing off that a little bit now. You know, he didn't play today, thankfully. I don't know. They could definitely cut bait with him at some point, but I would rather give those at bats right now to Gabby Arias against lefties. I know he didn't do well against lefties last year. That's the problem, is replacing Manzardo has a platoon issue. And you know, everyone's going to say, well, Josh Naylor is hitting lefties now, and Quan is platoon agnostic, and so is Jimenez. But that takes time, and it's not going to happen right away for Manzardo, most likely. So I would just keep finding more at-bats for Gabby, for Florial, for Brennan, and let Laureano earn his time. And if it doesn't come to him, then, you know, cut bait if you have to. That's something that's saving him, really, is the fact that he's a right-handed hitter right now. And I guess, you know, Vogt playing with him probably helps too, but you don't really need him defensively. He's a -3 right now, odds above average, 6th percentile, not great. So, you know, what are you getting? But replacing him with Manzardo does hurt what is really helping this team right now. I'm not sure how maybe Vogt will find a way to do it, right? Vogt has gotten everybody involved so far, so maybe he'll be good at incorporating all of that, but it does seem harder on paper to carve out if you do that right now.
Yeah, and that just, like I said, right now, to me, the way things are going, you want Brennan and Freeman every day with Quan. And again, I know Justin's probably the listener melting down. I want to point out, like, my biggest concern with Quan, I know I said we get back to it, was his minuscule walk rate. It's good to see him get those walks in today, because he's taken advantage of, he's going to fall off this heater, because everyone knew last year you didn't have to throw him anything good early on. And now he's taken advantage of the fact that guys were kind of limping it over at the start. He's a good hitter, though. He's going to have a good year. But the walks are what it's going to take to sustain like a borderline all-star level, which is what he's been at the start. So he's got to do that. But right now it's like Quan, Freeman, Brennan is kind of what you want to see in the outfit. At least that's me. And then I want Gabby playing every day. So it's like, you know, hope that making Jose have a rest every day. Someone should have a day off. Gabby is in that super utility role. Unless it's like you said that, you know, but then, you know, how do you balance?
Florial's got to play.
Florial's got to play, and Manzardo just like, there's nothing wrong with letting Manzardo stay down there for half a year if guys are performing. And that's the key word, if guys are performing.
Right. It'd be easy if he played outfield. But then again, he's left-handed. That's the only issue here, is that he's left-handed. I guess if he was right-handed, you have less of an issue, but also that it's hard to carry 2 first base only guys on the roster, plus and David Fry.
And if he was left-handed or right-handed, it hurt his value, because right-hand first baseman aren't as valuable. And like, then if he had the platoon splits, all of a sudden he's not as valuable, because you're only playing him like 20% of the time. So he wouldn't even be on the roster then, because you can't have a platoon first baseman.
True.
So
put David Fry in right field against lefties if you have to. You know,
you could.
If you're gonna play Josh Naylor, if you don't have Laureano, put David Fry in right field for 5 innings if you have to, and if you need to protect the lead defensively, you do that. We've got to protect our time left on the show. We had some college stuff we wanted to get to. Jeff might get that tomorrow. I might be out of here because I'm going to the game. We'll see. But if not, we will definitely get to it later in the week, because we have some good college data to share.
We do. There's some interesting things that will affect a lot of stuff. But thank you for listening, rating, and reviewing, downloading. It helps being an everydayer. It's been great seeing us get over 1,000 views on here today. Thank you.